Hi everybody and welcome to this first demo about Packet Tracer. To discover together the interface of Packet Tracer, we will start with building a very small network consisting of one switch and two computers that will be, of course, connected together with network cables. So here is the interface of Packet Tracer. At the bottom left of the screen, you will see the different devices that you can add on your network. The first group of buttons is located over here, which are groups of categories of devices. We have network devices, we have end devices like computers and so on. We have specific components we are not really interested in for now. This here represents cables and connections, and then we have some other components that we are not interested in for now either. We'll start with adding to our network a switch, so therefore we have to select network devices, and there here in the sub-menu we can select switches, and the list of available switches will appear here at the bottom middle. To add a switch to the network, to the interface of Packet Tracer, I have to click on this one, the 2960, and then click on my schema to add my first switch. Next to my switch, I want to connect two computers. Computers are located under end devices. Then we have here normal end devices. And look here, I have PC or laptop. I could use both of them. I'm going to go for PC for this demo. So I will add one computer, then click again and add another computer. Obviously those devices are not connected together for now. To add wireless network cables, I have to click on this lightning here that represent the different cables and connections that are available. Then once again in the list I have to select the cable I want to use. In this case I'm going to use copper straight through. The drawing is very simple, it's a simple black line. If you're used to computing and networks, you might already know some stuff about the other available cables over here. If not, it's not a problem. Simply remember for now that to connect this switch and the computers together, we need a simple copper straight through cable, so the black line, just like here. I click on the line, and then I have to connect my devices together. First, my computer, so I will click on the computer. And then once again, I have to select the port, so the connection, the connector, in which I want to plug the cable. In this case, I'm going to use a network connector, which is called, once again, if you're used to networks and so on, you might already recognize that, Fast Ethernet. If you're not, well, it's not important for now, but remember that you have to use, to connect this, the Fast Ethernet connector. It's called Fast Ethernet 0, actually. I'm going to click on this one. And then I have to plug the other end of the cable to my switch. So I'm going to click on the switch. And once again, I have to select one of the ports. And because it's a switch, obviously I have a lot of ports available, 24 in this case, plus 2 gigabit Ethernet ports. I'm going to use simply the first Fast Ethernet port on my switch. And there it is. I have a first network cable between my computer and the switch. We'll see there is a triangle, a green triangle here on the left side and an orange circle at the right side. It's simply because electrically and electronically the link is still establishing between the computer and the switch. It will become green within a few seconds. In the meantime, in any way, I can add another cable, so I have to click on my copper straight through cable once again, and I will add another cable between my PC1 and my switch. Click on the PC, select the Fast Ethernet 0 connector, click on the switch, and select this time the Fast Ethernet 02. Look that the Fast Ethernet 01 is not available anymore in the list because it's used already by my other cable. So it will only show you the connectors that are actually available on this device, Fast Ethernet 02. So there it is. I created a very simple network consisting of a switch and 2 computers. But once again, if you have studied networking and so on a little in the past, you might already guess that this is not enough. For computers to communicate, or network devices to communicate together, the minimum that they need is an IP address configured. In most cases at home, for example, you don't have to configure that manually because you have something called a DHCP server in the network, which obviously is not the case here. Look at our network, we have only a switch and 2 computers. There is no DHCP server, which means if we want to test this setup, we will have to manually configure the IP address on the 2 computers, which we are going to do right now. To configure a device or computer or switch or even a router in Packet Tracer, it's actually pretty simple. I simply have to click on the device and a new window will open. Here it is, that represents my device. So here you might recognize a good old tower computer. And here at the top I have different tabs that I can use. For now, and for this computer, what I'm interested in is the desktop tab, in which I have one application which is IP configuration. So this is what I'm interested in for now, IP configuration. And therein I can manually assign an IP address. Once again, if you're not used to computing and networks, it might be a little new for you, but you will discover that later. For now, we will configure an IP address which will be 192.168.0.1. We also need a subnet mask which will be automatically assigned by Packet Tracer when I click on the field. And this is actually all that we need for now. An IP address and a subnet mask, and then I can close my window. So for the first computer here, the one on the left, I chose the IP address 192.168.0.1, and then I can close my window. I also have to assign an IP address, a different IP address to my other computer here at the right. So I will click on this computer as well, go to desktop, IP configuration, and then assign another IP address which will be 192.168.0. Pay attention, it must be another address, so I will use .2 for this computer. Subnet mask 255.255.255.0, that's correct for now, and I can simply close my window. So it's done already. I have configured a very small network with one switch, 2 computers. I have manually configured an IP address on both computers such that they can communicate together. Obviously, I should test this. Don't trust me by word. We should test that this is actually working and not leave it as this. A very simple tool that can be used to test network connectivity in a network, it's called ping. Ping is a small command that will send a small amount of data, it's called an ICMP echo request packet, to some other computer, server or network device and wait for an answer. You can find this in your real computer as well if you open a terminal window. But in Packet Tracer you can do exactly the same. Open and simulate a terminal window in which you can type this ping command. To do this, the principle is just the same. Once again, I click on the computer. If it's not the case yet, I click on the desktop tab here at the top, and then I click on command prompt. This will simulate a terminal, a command prompt, just like as if you were in front of your computer at home. And here I can type my command ping, so I want to send this ICMP echo request packet, and I have to give it an address, of course, which will be the IP address of the other computer, and remember that I chose 192.168.0.2 and then hit enter. And if everything goes well, I should receive an answer, a reply from this computer 192.68.02, and I have some additional information. Most interesting of this is that the time it took to go to the computer and back is 3 milliseconds for the first packet, then less than 1 millisecond, and so on. And at the very end, I have some statistics that 4 packets were sent, 4 replies were received, which means there was no loss. And I have also some statistics about the round trip time it's called, the time it takes to send and receive the packet. And we are done. Now that you have this, well, basically you have discovered the main components of Packet Tracer, such that you can start building your own bigger and more advanced networks in Packet Network. Thank you for watching, and see you next time for another demo about Packet Tracer.